Good evening. Good evening, chat. Good evening, everybody. Hello, kids. It's the Eternal Abyss, your host. We are here for another episode of The Abyss. I want to welcome everyone on all the platforms I'm streaming on. I want to welcome everyone on Bitwave, DLive.tv, YouTube, and Periscope. So welcome, and welcome once again. Hi, Mom Patch. Hi, everybody.
The Eternal Abyss says, live.
Just doing a test there. I think everybody could hear that. I have TTS turned on. I'm living on the edge. Oh, yes. I only have it for local chat, though, because I don't want everything that's coming up from global to be read. However, I do see all of chat. So I'll be able to look at all of chat anyways. So let me just do that. So how is everybody? We spoke this morning. With I started, for those that may have not known that I was doing morning streams, I am doing that now. Daily morning streams, The Abyss AM. It's news and commentary with caffeine. So I invite everyone to
Mom Patch says at the Eternal Abyss hi twice and one day haha.
I know, right, Mom Patch? That's great. So yeah, basically, I decided to do this daily stream. I did it back in February, and I decided to start that up again because my schedule allows me to do so at the moment, and things are happening so much that you almost have to have a daily kind of commentary on it. I feel if you want to stay up to snuff on what's going on. So I think that it's worth doing. I hope that it's worth doing. I hope that people don't get Abyss overload. So but like I said, I have to kind of feel it out, see how things work out with that, and but in order for people not to miss that stuff, though, I invite everyone to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to all the video stuff that I do, like on DLive, on Periscope, Bitwave, and YouTube. Hit the notification bell where it applies, so you get notified when these streams happen. And follow on social media. You want to follow on Twitter, on Gab, on Parler, on Minds. And don't forget BitChute. I am a little behind on my archiving, but I use BitChute to archive all my videos. So hopefully, I'll catch myself up, and we'll be up to date sooner rather than later. So between this morning and today, a few things have happened. Oh, and one thing I do want to actually talk about before I even continue. I'm kind of changing things up a little bit when it comes to the weekly stream. The weekly stream is going to be a bit more interactive. I want to have chat participate. So if you're on other platforms, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Periscope and DLive, I invite you to please either talk in chat. If you want to be heard on the TTS, on the text-to-speech, you have to be on bitwave.tv. You don't need to register an account, so you don't need to worry too much about that. But if you want to be heard, that's where you need to go. And I also have a Discord channel. Even though I don't like Discord as a company, I think it's a very politicized company as well. I don't like supporting companies that are very politicized, but unfortunately I haven't found a better alternative yet. Once I find a better alternative for like call-ins, I will definitely use that. But in the meantime, I invite people to go on to the Discord. It's in my description. And I'm gonna have people call in. We'll have a little chat and talk about, if they want to put in a comment about what's happening in this day and age and the insanity of the world. Come on in. Misery loves company, right? So let's give it a go. Why not? Hmm. I have my fluids. It's not coffee because it's not the morning. It's something else. So, but I invite you also to get whatever fluids get you through the day. But one thing about this stream, as you all know, is I always do talk about politics no matter what. It's kind of the shtick du jour of my of my stream. So, suffice to say, it makes sense that I kind of comment on what happens in the news right now and trends that are happening in social media between this morning and now. And there's a few things that have come up. As you can see from my title, uh, big news dropped from SCOTUS. Basically, they were looking over how the Trump administration wanted to rid itself of DACA, and rightfully so. And what does John Roberts do? John Roberts does what he does. He does the derpiest thing you can imagine. Says, no, you have to follow a specific procedure for this and blah, blah, blah. And, you can't get rid of it in the way you want to, and et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of like good news, bad news time. The good news is that it doesn't necessarily mean that DACA can't be rescinded. It can, whether you agree with it or not. I mean, that's for a different debate. I'm not debating whether you agree with DACA or you disagree with DACA. If you are one of those folks that just want to get rid of DACA, it's unconstitutional, you believe it's unconstitutional, then President Trump has still recourse to do so. The problem with this whole thing, though, that I have, is that John Roberts has been a pox on the Supreme Court for quite a while now. Let's just say it. He has. He's been, he's made idiotic ruling after idiotic ruling. If there's a stupid decision that comes to a 5-4 decision, and you're not sure where it's coming from, the idiocy, 9 out of 10 times it's going to be John Roberts. It's not 100% all of the time. I can't blame him for everything. But generally speaking, John Roberts makes some really, really, really stupid choices. And he goes outside the purview of his role many a time, actually. He did this with Obamacare. He decided he was going to be a legislator when it came to Obamacare. It's like, okay, I thought you were a justice on the Supreme Court, but, tomato, tomato, I guess. I don't know. He had no business rewriting law, and he decided to rewrite law because he wanted to keep Obamacare. Yep. So that's what it is. Great. Awesome. Super. In this case, he's just, again, going beyond his purview. And this is the thing that really burns me about this whole thing. Obama himself said that when he made that executive order on DACA, that it was unconstitutional. He knew that it was unconstitutional. He said it. He declared it. He said that he didn't think it would be upheld in the courts. And he did this because he was just doing a political act. He was going to the legislature to act, to make some sort of legislation on that. Of course, that plan didn't quite pan out as he hoped. It didn't quite work. And it's like, well, okay. But he himself said that it wasn't something that the Supreme Court should uphold. And he bent his interpretation of the Constitution quite a bit, actually. There are many times that he would talk about stuff in the Constitution because he claimed to be a constitutional lawyer. Though I don't see how he could claim that half the time when he was talking about the Constitution, it seemed like he didn't know what he was talking about. But that's a whole different argument. I don't want to get into the debate of that. But what I do want to talk about more is just how ridiculous John Roberts has been for the Supreme Court. I mean, he was appointed by W, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that, but if I'm not mistaken, he was appointed by W, and it shows. This guy, I don't know how he interprets the law. It's a whole cockeyed ass backwards kind of interpretation of the law. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I will say that I haven't really read through that decision, but it would seem like that if the president himself, who said that the executive order was unconstitutional, says so, I think it would make sense to say, well, yeah, okay, so it's unconstitutional. But of course, see, that's the problem when the judicial branch becomes very politicized, and that's the problem. I don't want a political judicial branch. The Supreme Court of the United States should be based on the law. It should be based on precedent. It should be based on the Constitution. There shouldn't be a political consideration when you're making a decision. There shouldn't be like, oh, geez, the media is gonna excoriate us for going along with removing DACA, for example. And I'm willing to bet money. I'm willing to bet money that that was one of the deciding factors in this whole thing. You know. So I think that's what it is. So it's frustrating because this isn't the first time, as I mentioned, especially with John Roberts. It isn't the first time the Supreme Court has not interpreted the law. They haven't made a decision based on law. They made a decision based on political climate, and it's a shame, I find, that our branches of government have become, I mean, the others I could get it. The legislative branch and the executive branch have always been more politicized than than the judicial branch. But I would think that the judicial branch would kind of have a little bit of honor and a little bit of integrity, and it seems like the more time passes, the less that occurs. So hopefully, with this election that comes around, I feel that there may be another choice of Supreme Court justice that's going to happen, and I can't.
Punished Monkey says at the Eternal Abyss Hitler spent the day bitchin' about DACA.
He did? Yeah. I'm not a big fan of it. It is quite a conundrum because this is a problem, really.
Punished Monkey says at the Eternal Abyss, my opinion is that losing on DACA ain't really that bad.
No, at the end of the day, actually, Punished Monkey, it's not. You're correct. Because the only thing that the decision said was you can't get rid of it in that way. But there are other ways that DACA can still be rescinded. Just the way that Trump wanted to do it wasn't according to how the Supreme Court wanted. Now, could the Supreme Court pull another fast one like that? And if Trump goes back and says, well, I want to do it now your way, and they can go, oh, wait, you know what? We were wrong. You can't do that as well. Maybe. But since they set forth the parameters now, all that Trump and the Trump administration need to do is just follow those parameters. On a grander scale, there is this problem of people that are here.
Punished Monkey says, yeah, there's also the fact that there are other ways to curb illegal immigration.
Yeah. Immigration? What the heck, TTS? What's the matter with you?
Punished Monkey says, I just think that kids shouldn't be punished for the parents' crimes.
And to an extent, I agree, actually. And that's what I was getting at. There is a problem where these children...
Punished Monkey says at alt-right yet.
Yeah, I believe that the parents are ultimately responsible for the situation that these children find themselves in. They should have normalized, not normalized, but they should have naturalized their children, or they should have gone through the process correctly to come to the United States. If they were seeking refuge or political asylum, there's a whole process for that. It's not like there wasn't a process. These people came here illegally. They had They had a small child. The child ended up being illegal. The kid had no control or decision
Mom
making
Patch
power in this.
says, yeah, but those DACA kids aren't the only ones with dreamer goals.
That's true, and that's why I say
Mom
if
Patch says, pay some damn taxes first.
that's kind of where the direction I'm going. I say if you can
Punished Monkey says, the kids are there. They got no ties to Mexico, they likely don't even know the language. Those people should have a path to citizenship. Punished Monkey says at Mom Patch yet.
I'm okay with the path to
Mom Patch
citizenship.
says, ship em back.
Well, see, I'm on the fence on that because I feel that if they have been here for like 20, 30 years and they are pretty much American, they don't speak the language, they don't. I mean, I think it has to be a very subjective case by case basis. On top of that, if you are a dreamer, quote unquote, I say you could give them a path to citizenship, but they're not going to cut the line. They came here illegally. You're not going to cut the line. You're going to get in line with everybody else. And on top of that, you're going to have to pay some sort of recompense for the fact that you were here illegally for all these years. I don't think it's unreasonable. Like for every year that you were here, you would owe, I don't know, some
Mom
sort of
Patch
taxation.
says, I'm not on the fence cuz I'm paying my taxes and my kids don't get those dreamer incentives, so screw them. Harsh but real. Dispatch says at Mom Patch illegal immigrants pay taxes. Mom Patch says at Dispatch, oh shut up. Mom Patch says, sure they do.
What the only taxes that illegals pay are probably sales tax. They don't pay if you're illegal and you have an illegal social security number, you're not paying into social security.
Dispatch says, they pay more than citizens and use less deductibles.
I
Punished Monkey
don't think
says,
that's the case, Dispatch.
as I said before, there are other ways to curb illegal immigration. Without interfering with people that are already there.
Let me lower TTS volume so I don't have to scream over and compete
MTE
with it.
says, LOL.
So,
Mom Patch says, where you getting that info?
to my knowledge, this whole it's kind of from the information that I've seen, illegals
Mom
don't pay
Patch
more
says,
taxes.
Illegals.com. Punished Monkey says at Mom Patch his soy friends on California /__/. Dispatch says at Mom Patch. Fear Unloading says at Dispatch they use much more social aid and are a net loss though. Mom Patch says, LOL at Punished Monkey. Dispatch says at Mom Patch where are you getting your info? Dispatch says, your ass.
Well, if that's the case, that they are paying more federal taxes, okay, that may be the case. But the thing is,
says at Dispatch don't bully the owner of Bitwave. Dispatch says at Fear Unloading then reduce social aid. Mom Patch says at Dispatch how about I've lived here my whole life, look who gets all the scholarships for starters. Bleed the Sheep says, LOL.
well,
Dispatch
I don't
the
think
tax argument is BS though.
I don't think the tax
Mom
argument
Patch
is
says
BS
at
actually.
Partner, LOL. Mandalorian says, Dispatch is working on the theory that all illegal immigrants are just giving up their FICA and Medicare taxes because they can't get tax refunds on stolen SSNS. Dispatch says at Mom Patch then argue that, but the tax argument is BS. Mandalorian says, but he's a moron that never heard of ITINs.
I don't
Tom
know if you
says,
necessarily dispute my
hardly matters
point,
if they pay
Dispatch. Let me
taxes
look at
with all
that
the
data
benefits
because
they
you
are
have to
getting.
see
Punished
really
Monkey says, maybe I see it differently cause I'm a dirty spick /_. Dispatch says at the eternal abyss I just disproved your point.
I don't think you did
Dispatch
necessarily.
says, so it is. Mark Pugner says at Mandalorian he is a moron. Mom Patch says, I disagree just like they don't all have valid driver's licenses either. Dispatch says, then look at the data. Mom Patch says at Dispatch go back to work it's not 6 yet LOL. Dispatch says, you cannot dismiss
Well,
my
see,
point if
hold
you don't
on.
even look at it.
Hold on. The
Mandalorian
whole
says,
argument.
show the data then faggot.
Hold on. Let me stop here at the TTS so I can actually talk. All right. So let's stop for a moment. Yeah, call into Mom Patch and Dispatch come into my Discord, and we can have the conversation online here. Let's say your own source, Dispatch, your own source that you have provided says, let me bring this up again. Many others do pay in the hope that it will someday help them become citizens. Much of the evidence for this motivation is anecdotal, but various attempts at comprehensive immigration reform legislation over the last decade, including the Gang of Eight bills, have included provisions like good moral character and paying back taxes as a requirement for obtaining legalization. So the thing is this. They're talking about anecdotal information that people have that motivation to pay taxes in the hopes that they become legal, which is kind of stupid to begin with, because if you want to become legal, do it. There's a process. You don't have to keep paying money into the government. And I don't know what percentile of, I think that what the last count of the illegal immigrants in the United States was, what, 11 million or more? It ranges. I've heard ranges between 11 million to like 20 million illegals living in the United States. And if there are that many people, and many of them are being paid under the table, they have fake social security cards and numbers, how are they even getting taxes from that? Because it's just taking from their pay and putting it into the system. And then there are costs associated with illegal immigration. So let's say they are paying taxes. Yeah, if they are paying taxes and they're getting all the benefits of healthcare and all the welfare programs, and they're getting scholarships and all these benefits that are going over I don't believe that. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that that's the case. That they're contributing 13 billion into the Social Security fund. Then why is Social Security bankrupt? If that was the case, Social Security should not be as bankrupt as it is. Dispatch. I think you're getting fed wrong information. That's not the case. There's no possible way that's accurate, because the numbers of what Social Security have in their coffers doesn't even come close to that. I agree with fear and loading here. It is a net loss. Some illegals pay taxes. Some do. I agree with that. Many do not. So I don't necessarily disagree that there are some illegals that do pay taxes. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's a percentage that do. But if you want to tell me that they contribute $13 billion to Social Security, I'm sorry, Dispatch. That's just grade A baloney. I don't buy that specific argument. How does it have how does it have 3 trillion in reserve? They keep talking about how it's going bankrupt. And they keep pulling money for all the social programs. They keep tapping into Social Security. Social Security, like when I retire, when it comes to like the millennials and younger generation, Generation X, Y, Millennial Z, whatever you want to call them, most likely they're not going to get much out of Social Security. Because anyway, Social Security wasn't even designed for that sort of thing. But like I said, I'm not saying I disagree that with what you're saying per se. I'm saying that the numbers don't quite add up to me. That's all I'm saying. I would have to look at that data more carefully. I don't have all the data in front of me, so I'm not gonna make. I'll say this. I'm not going to make any sort of proclamations at this point. All I'm gonna say is this. I'm sure that there's some contribution. I'm sure that there is a big cost to illegal immigrants as well. But I'm also going to say that it is not good for any country to have a large quantity of people that don't really contribute as they should as citizens. They should not receive all the benefits of citizenship without being citizens. That's really what it boils down to for me. And there is a process. People have lost their lives coming to the United States in the last, well, just about any immigration wave, honestly. But just let's talking about waves of immigration of the early 1900s when people were in the bowels of ships from Europe coming over. They would die on the trip because they wanted to become citizens, and they were doing it legally. Yeah, but oh, that's why I'm saying. I'm sure that there's some contribution because if you buy if you buy stuff that has a sales tax, yes, you're gonna be paying a sales tax. Uh, if you have property or like that's the thing that I'm not. That's the thing that's unclear to me, Dispatch. Maybe you can clear this up because if someone is illegal and they have property, okay, how do you even track that? That's the thing that I'm not entirely sure. Like, how do you even track what money's coming in if you don't even have a clear number of how many illegal immigrants there are? That's where all these numbers, when people talk about numbers of contribution of money, I don't know how accurate that is. I really don't. So, but I really wasn't going. I wasn't really planning on going into an immigration debate at this point. But I can turn TTS back on here. Let's see if we can make this work.
Jameson says, it's an approximation based on imagination. Troll ZKYV says, Forbes does articles about anime and Gundam now lol. Dispatch says, many who do not file tax returns still have taxes deducted from their paychecks.
That may be true, but
says,
that doesn't necessarily mean that they're paying the amount that they should be paying.
Automation will pick strawberries sooner than later and no one but Megacore will get paid to do it. Fear Unloading says, burn the banks.
The bank, no.
Mark Pugner, they just need more. LIDAR. Mom Patch says, worse, we pay them to stay home and give birth for free but not for us. Mark Pugner says at Dispatch. Mom Patch says, we pay for them.
Well, a lot of the taxes that they, again, and that goes into what Fear was saying, that a lot of the taxes that are paid do go back into the welfare programs, which they take advantage of anyway. So it is, at the end of the day, most likely a net loss. We don't have accurate numbers. It's all estimates. So I wouldn't really care too much to argue that, because honestly, the thing that I care about when it comes to legal immigration is that my family came from an immigration background. Okay, but my family did it the right way.
Dispatch says, illegal immigrants are just modern-day slaves.
No, I wouldn't call them that. Illegal immigrants are not modern-day slaves. They have a choice. My family had a choice.
___ and that just means cheaper products.
No.
Mark Pugner says at Dispatch hardly.
That's a very oversimplified view of how the illegal immigration problem is. Like I was saying, my parents came here legally. My family came here legally. They made enormous sacrifices to be here. It is just not right. It is just not right that people come here illegally, spit on the graves of all the other people that came here legally, and try to cut the line. That's where my problem is with this whole issue with illegal immigration.
Mom Patch, glad you survived, as long you didn't go to Florida. Troll ZKYV says, Notibus the last J Notibus Supreme Notibus the last J Notibus.
So that's where I draw the line is, you want a path for citizenship, great. I don't have an issue with that, but you're not cutting the line. You were here illegally. You're gonna have to pay fines if you want to stay here. There has to be a fair process. Amnesty to these people is not the solution.
Mandalorian says, what an infantile worldview you have. Ambassador of Cats says, slavery is wrong. Mom Patch says at Troll ZKYV Nevada, hit Vegas/Lake Mead didn't miss our California freak show. Troll ZKYV says, Notabis Thelast J Notabis Supreme Notabis Thelast J Notabis. Dispatch says, this isn't fair.
Well,
says,
I never said life was fair, Dispatch.
OMG, how fucking dumb, I'm not reading this garbage anymore.
I never said life was fair, Dispatch.
Life isn't fair though.
I never said life was fair, but that doesn't mean that since life is not fair, you have to keep making it unfair and make it even more unfair. Because life is not fair, it would behoove us to try and right some wrongs. No, I never said I want life to be fair. I just want that if there is a process, if life isn't fair, there isn't any reason to aggravate the situation and make it worse. It's like if you have a wound on you, what is your solution to that? To just keep it open or make it bigger? No, you want it to heal. You want to fix it. So you follow whatever the first aid process is to close that wound, sew it up, disinfect it, wash it out, do what you need to do. You're not gonna get a crowbar and open your wound even further. Absolutely not. Just dilate your wound. No, I don't think that that's the solution. I think that possibility of emigration to better countries also dooms the shitty countries to stay shitty. You know, that's an interesting point. I'm not sure if I entirely agree with that, but to an extent there is some truth in that. Trannies crowbar their wounds further. Apparently they do, from what I hear. I am not versed in that sort of information, so I don't even want to get into that. Frankly, so. Mom Patch says at Unreasonable Jameson they should stay there and clean their own shit up. Well, it's not always that easy, Mom Patch. You know, when you have such levels of corruption like you do with Venezuela. Yeah, Venezuela. Post-World War II, for example. Post-World War II, you had so much devastation and so much hurt. Life isn't easy. LOL. No, life isn't easy. You have Venezuelans all across South America now. But it's not always easy to fix your country when the level of corruption is so high. And the level of tyranny that your government is employing is so high. Sometimes you don't have a choice. Fear Unloading says, illegal immigrants are the impacted hairball of the festering dilated wound that is our immigration system. That does not sound pleasant, Fear. Oh my goodness. Ambassador of Cat says, bullets only require one vote to change things. Mom Patch says, but they shouldn't come over here and destroy our communities with crime, drugs, sex trafficking, free health care, free education, etc. Unreasonable Jameson says at Troll ZKYV. Well, see, to me, Mom Patch, my theory is if you're gonna come here, just do it the legal way. I don't have any problem with people coming over from other countries and wanting to be American and become American and get the citizenship and be a naturalized citizen. Like I said, my family comes from an immigrant family. I have an immigrant background. I don't have an issue with immigration, because if I did, that means I wouldn't even allow my own family when they came here to come here. But my family did it right. We followed all the rules. We followed all the laws. And there are many immigrants that come
Unreasonable
here that
Jameson says
follow
at
the
Troll
rules.
ZKYV it was a normal country at one point.
So I say that's my whole point is like,
Unreasonable Jameson says, but they let socialism fuck them up.
yes, they did.
Mom Patch says, talk to the families who have lost loved ones from illegal immigrants who have murdered/raped someone.
Well, and exactly, Mom
Silver
Patch. I'm
says,
saying
immigration needs to be
legal
more restrictive,
immigration.
like the 1920s. Let's anti-communists and English speakers in only.
That's what I'm saying. Legal immigration is what is good because these people want to be here. They want to follow the laws. They have to follow the rules. Like if they don't qualify to immigrate to the United States, then they don't qualify. If you're a felon, you shouldn't be coming here, for example. So I completely sympathize with I believe the term is called angel moms for these people that have lost their loved ones to illegal
Val
immigrants.
says, Jesus.
So I agree that illegal immigration is a big problem here. But
Tom says, fuck off, we're full. Troll ZKYV says, shut the borders, and we should sort out our own shit.
I think that immigration needs to be somewhat restrictive. I don't think you should just open the floodgates. I don't think complete shutdown of immigration.
Dispatch says at Bell is back.
I don't think that a
Troll
complete
ZKYV
shutdown
says,
of
the world
immigration
is shut.
is a solution because, well, the problem is this. We may need to do a pause because we are oversaturated.
Troll
Our country
ZKYV
needs
says
to
at Dispatch
adjust.
Bell did a pop song. Says,
I kind of agree
legal
with that, Tom.
immigration needs to be
Like I said,
slowed.
we have a lot of people
Mom
that
Patch
have
says
poured
at
into
Troll
our
ZKYV
country. Our
based.
system needs to adapt to that,
Troll
and we need some time
ZKYV
for our
says at Mom
acclimation.
Patch.
I do agree
Dispatch
with
says
that.
at Troll ZKYV I know.
Economically and workforce-wise and financially, and security-wise, I mean, our communities are changing so fast that they're not given time to acclimate to all this influx of people coming in. Spooky does blackface?
Troll
What?
ZKYV says, at Dispatch you saw it. Soldat says, 4-year moratorium, time to implement revisions.
You know, moratorium may be beneficial.
Ambassador of Cats says, complete shutdown immediately.
Nah, like I said, I don't know. I don't know about a complete shutdown. I think that a moratorium might be good. I think that a slowdown might be good. I think putting restrictions might be good.
Or maybe just send IDOC after her ass cheeks.
I have no idea what Troll is talking about. Let's just leave it at that. But moving on, let's I don't want to spend the entire stream talking about immigration issues because that's a very complex topic and there's a lot of feelings about it. And I think that for the most part, we can all agree.
Says at Troll ZKYV, ha, ha, ha.
I think everybody on all political spectrums can agree that
says at Dispatch you hear that
we just
mandated masks for all of California now today.
Yes, yeah, I heard about that, Mom Patch.
Says.
I think we just agree on a lot of the issues with immigration. Maybe implementation is where there's a lot of disagreement. But I do think that it is an issue that needs to be resolved, and I think there are different ways to resolving it. But yes, I had heard about Gavin Newsom, which is why one thing in my title here has to do exactly with him. There's a trend happening right now on Twitter. Recall Newsom 2020. Because he's forcing people to wear masks. Now,
Dinosaur Review says at Dispatch when I hit record, encode to HTTPS, it says an unspecified error occurred while recording. Error opening invalid argument. Troll ZKYV says, IDOC was the booty bandit all along.
But as I was saying, so he's requiring everyone to wear masks.
Big bad booty daddy.
Big bad booty daddy. See, here's the thing. I don't agree with these mandates, mostly because the data just doesn't support it. So masks, many of the masks themselves, the boxes.
We've gone Muslim time to cover up.
Many of the boxes themselves of these masks say they don't filter for viruses. They're not the filter uh isn't tailored to that sort of filtering. So most people that wear masks really are doing it for psychological reasons. If we want to be honest, it doesn't really protect you. On top of that, now
YV says, the Chad doctor. The booty thought.
that sounds like an epic battle, sir.
Mom Patch
Um,
says, all about control, all about the power grab.
I think there definitely is a level of politicization of this whole thing. Obviously, I mean, this COVID thing has become just political at this point. There is a level where these governors, like the governor, like people in New York, Pennsylvania, California, Michigan, there's a lot of these governors that are just they got power and they're going to abuse it and they're going to use it, and it's unfortunate. Um, you have governor. I'm sorry. You have the WHO, not the band, the World Health Organization. Um, they're saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? If you're asymptomatic, you're not contagious," even though for the longest time they said you were. First, before that, they said, "Oh, there's no spreading between humans." Then they went, "Oh, our bad. You can actually spread between humans." Um, so honestly, it's very difficult to make decisions when these organizations that are supposed to be the arbiters of this information just keep contradicting themselves.
A level.
It's really a problem because I want to try and do what's best for me, the people around me, and to an extent the community that I live in. But a long time ago, I learned a very important lesson from someone who taught taught me that the first thing that you need to worry about is number one, yourself, and then everybody else comes secondary to that. It's somewhat narcissistic, but I mean, there's many cases where that rings true.
Can you take a screenshot of the settings where that stream URL is? Should also try restarting OBS and setting keyframes to 1.
Oh, they're providing some tech support for OBS and streaming.
At 6 p.m.
So I understand people needing something to feel safe, and I understand that governors, whatever their motivations may be, if they're nefarious or not, I understand that governors are have a job that they need to do.
I've never seen the two of them in the same room together.
But at the same time,
I need donuts to feel safe.
At the same time, we've run into an issue where these governors are overreaching. They're trying to punish citizens for just, practicing their rights. And if the contradictory information that keeps coming down isn't really helping. And really, the worst cases of deaths, if you want to talk about data, just where the data is, it's come from the senior homes that these governors, Cuomo, Whitmer, what was it in Washington? I think they put COVID patients in senior homes, and they were killing off senior citizens like they're dropping like flies. So what it boils down to is like this is bad decision making, and then we have to get punished for their bad decision making. I don't agree with that. Now, I say this, if you want to wear a mask, if that makes you feel better, go ahead. I don't think it's going to help you, but if you feel better about it, be my guest.
Local cities have
I'm not going to say no. Should governments mandate that? I don't know. I really don't know. That's where it becomes dicey because you're going into violating a person's civil rights at that point. And I feel, again, I think decisions need to be data driven, and if the data does not justify it, like the total number of COVID deaths, for example, is grossly overestimated, easily from 25% minimum overestimated, because if someone died and they happen to contract COVID, even though their cause of death was something else. Just because they had COVID, they would mark it as a COVID death, and they'd get money for all the COVID patients that they would have and deaths. You know, so if that's the case, obviously any COVID case, they're just putting that in the column to get money, and that's bad. So when it was Colorado, if I'm not mistaken, Colorado, they readjusted their numbers. They said, well, wait a minute, we need more accurate data. Let's look at how this works out here. We'll only count COVID deaths when COVID was the actual cause of death, not necessarily an underlying condition that was exacerbated by COVID. Like if someone had a heart condition, if that they were going to basically have a heart attack in a couple years, maybe COVID accelerated that, but the underlying condition, the disease that they had before contracting COVID was really the cause. They should more accurately count that as maybe a COVID induced death, but not a death by COVID and COVID alone.
Mom Patch says at
So,
I'll throw in
um,
too.
and you know what happened with Colorado? Their numbers actually, when they got readjusted, dropped by like 25% because they got more accurate a more accurate count of what the COVID deaths were. And to me, data is what's important. Facts, reality, and data. So it makes way more sense to me what Colorado did. And Colorado generally makes really dumb decisions about a lot of stuff, but that's one of the ones that they actually were the vanguards are, and they are correct to count things more accurately. They shouldn't be counting every death that just happens to be like someone was guys of a gunshot wound, ends up in the hospital, contracts COVID. They mark it as a COVID death, even though it was the gunshot wound that killed him.
Soldat says at the Eternal Abyss.
So it's ridiculous. Let me see what Soldat is sending me here. Okay, yeah, there you go. So there's this new study in Switzerland. There you go. Let me see if I can put this on screen so everybody can see it. That's a very interesting tweet. Thank you, Soldat.
Don't care about feels. Eternal Semite.
Facts don't care about. No, I'm not stealing anyone's catchphrase, sir. I try to stay in my lane. Let's see if I can get this working.
Mom Patch says, my friend
Hold up.
is a surgeon.
I gotta get rid of this stupid thing
paid
from Twitter.
For a COVID
What's going on?
And the hospitals get $2,000 to $3,000 per death.
I can't
talk about incentivizing.
There. Okay. Here we go. So this is what I'm talking about right now, this tweet right here. Yeah.
Senator Hitler says at the Eternal Abyss.
Oh goodness.
Punished Monkey says, the Jew wants you to stay in your lane.
I try to stay in my lane. Where is...
Bleed the Sheep says at the Eternal Abyss.
Nope, that's not what I wanted. Where is the... I can't find the... Shoot, where is that? To hide the notifications in light chat. Where is that? Did that disappear? Where am I?
The Sheep says, is back.
Oh boy, I can't find that right now. Well, oh well, so I guess people are gonna hear the brr, 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 brr. But yeah,
Partner says, yeah, it's gone.
Oh yeah, I've seen that from Biden. Yeah.
Notify. Bleed the Sheep says at the Eternal Abyss.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mark.
Soldat says, bork bork bork.
Bork, bork, bork.
Mark Pugner says at Theaternalibus do/notify to turn it off.
Thank you, sir. Yep, I got it. I got it turned off now.
Mark Pugner says, it's in the FAQ.
I haven't been on light chat in a while. My apologies. I should read the FAQ. You're right. But going back to this tweet that we're talking about here, so you have this.
Says that Mark Pugner FAQs don't care about your feelings.
That's a good one. Yeah. But see, that's what I'm talking about here. The most susceptible population is definitely there's age brackets. 3 orders of magnitude lower than people over 65. Yeah. 0.005% mortality rate. The mortality rate actually, like once you actually look at more accurate data, the mortality rate for COVID is actually not any more than a pretty bad flu season in general. You have a very low mortality rate. The issues that we've had here, the issue that we've had here in the United States primarily is poor decision making on the side of the governors, where they had abysmal and just evil policies of putting COVID people into senior homes and basically wiping out an entire generation of senior citizens. Oh God, it's like it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But yeah, that's not to say I'm not. Like I said, I've never tried to minimize this, and I never said that it's baloney. COVID is a thing. It exists. I'm not denying the existence of it. I'm just saying that it has become a highly politicized thing. At this point, it's become very politicized. It's been used to gain power by certain folks in government. And now, for example, I also saw a trend today that there's a spike in Florida apparently. But then again, it goes back to what we were talking about. Well, what do you mean exactly, like by spike? Like, and even if there is a spike, how does that really work in terms of who's getting it? Where is it happening? How is the spread occurring? And is it really going to have an impact at the end of the day? Compared to like if it's, let's say there's another situation where it's put in senior homes. Yeah, you're going to have a huge spike in the death rate. But if it's just like something that's spread amongst a population of people that are young, then most likely nothing's really going to happen. Though it's hilarious. The thing that I find ironic about the trend is that a lot of people were complaining to DeSantis about him saying, "Oh,
Soldat says the FL spike is from increased testing, and those folks skew younger.
Yeah.
Hospitalizations have remained stable in FL."
Yeah, and that's what I mean about, just looking at a spike at face value doesn't necessarily mean anything. Because if there's increased testing, sure, you're going to get more numbers. The biggest hypocrisy that I see from this whole thing has more to do with the fact that all these people complaining to DeSantis about having the beaches open and not shutting down certain things or not requiring certain things. I don't recall seeing them tweet the same thing about the riots and the protests and the looting. I don't recall seeing people tweeting about that they're all dumping on DeSantis for that. Do you? Not me. And that's the problem that I have. If you're gonna complain about that sort of thing, how about some ideological consistency? That's all I'm asking. I'm not even asking that I have to agree with you, but just be consistent. You can't have selective outrage because, the governor of Florida happens to be a Republican and we don't like him. That's basically their reasoning.
Dispatch says, "You racist hater, you just don't get it. Racism is more important than the beach."
Well, I guess that makes me racist. I don't know.
Says, "I am concerned about Arizona though. That is a genuine spike. But I also think they've had inadequate testing up to this point."
Yeah.
Says, "COVID is so smart it doesn't infect protesters."
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Each state is different. Each situation is different there. I don't, and I haven't honestly been keeping up as much as I did before with all the numbers and everything. So I'm not entirely sure what is the cause. If it's only testing, if it's only testing because there's an increase in testing, then that really doesn't tell me a whole lot. That doesn't tell me that there's necessarily a spike. There's just a greater number of people being
Dispatch
detected
says
with
at
it.
Mom Patch, that's how I earned my immunity.
So that's really kind of what it boils down to for me is I don't know. You would have to look at the data carefully. And jumping on these
Mom
sort of
Patch says at Dispatch, haha, herd immunity. Whose street?
those social media
MCU says at
trends that
Dispatch, whose
rag on
street?
people just because they see a spike is really it's pretty ignorant because it's not looking at the reasoning behind it. I find. I think it makes more sense to be more accurate and more careful about that sort of thing. But of course, social media is going to be social media. It's going to be a burning dumpster fire, regardless of of that. And speaking of dumpster fires, there's been a lot of talk about polls lately because there's been some polls, a CNN poll and now a Fox News poll that somehow have the same results. Isn't that interesting? Um, where you have 55% in favor of Biden and 38% in favor
Senator
of
Hitler says at the Eternal Abyss.
Trump. Oh, thank you, Senator Hitler. Let me see here what this tweet is all about. Oh my god, did he actually tweet that? Oh, it's Carpe Donktum. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh my god. Oh, this is beautiful. I'm gonna have to show this. Hold on. Let me get this out here. This is pretty damn funny. I know some people are gonna like that the president tweets this sort of thing, but it's just freaking funny. I mean, just look at that. I'm gonna have to like and retweet that one. That's just hilarious. Oh my god. But it's reflective of the of reality, you know. It's reflective of how the media distorts things. Wow. Yeah. Fake news is the problem. You know, it is disturbing to see how media spins things. It's very troubling and what they select to
Mom Patch
cover.
says at Dispatch you can get pizza dough and sauce from Trader Joe's and make a calzone. I have both here too. BTW.
I do find that very troubling. And this actually goes very well into the discussion of polls because that's also the same thing. You had all, and I talked a little bit about this morning, but for those that weren't watching this morning, I can reiterate a little bit what I was talking about. So you had the CNN poll, and 77%, if I'm
Soldat
not
says,
mistaken.
the media won't cover this. Dispatch says, another day. I
Um,
might just get Porky's.
oh, look at this.
Soldat says, DA
Yeah,
prosecutes cops in ATL. Cops stop responding to 911 calls.
yep.
Troll ZKYV says, doesn't like to protest. She stay home. Troll ZKYV says, stayed asterisk.
Yeah, so but when it comes to these polls, the issue was like, if I'm not mistaken, 77% or something like that. A large percentile were left-leaning, independent, quote unquote, but still kind of uh, left-leaning people, and then the remainder were Republicans slash conservatives. I don't know where the Fox News poll source is, so I'm not going to make any commentary on the source of that. But I do find it very ironic that CNN had a poll. They also had 55-38, excuse me, in favor of Biden, and uh, Fox News has the same exact number. So I find that very suspicious. First of all, it's very rare that two separate polls would have the same exact numbering, the same distribution. I find that a little suspect. But beyond that,
Troll ZKYV says
I don't really
Biden's
think much
trends
credence should be
told
put into
people to call
polls,
him they at one point magna deep lore.
which is why I tell people all the time, and my send off in my stream is, don't be complacent, because no matter what the numbers are, what they tell you, participation is what matters. You have to go out there. You have to register voters. You have to be active. You have to be proactive. Go out and talk to people. Convince them that they need to vote for what's in the best interest of the country, not just because they happen to not like someone.
Troll ZKYV says
It's a matter of policy. It's a matter of you know, you need to judge on the policies, and you need to judge on decision making. And so far, my arguments would be that of the candidates that are available to us, like Biden is not even a contest. This guy's not. He's not even in it. I mean, his brain is not even fully in it. He doesn't even know where he is half the time.
For the country, not because you don't like niggers.
Sure, dispatch. But anyways, the point is, it has to do with policy. As much as I don't like a candidate, like, there may be people that will hold their nose and vote for Trump because the alternative is a person who sniffs underage girls, gropes people, doesn't know where he is half the time, um has a allegation of sexual assault and rape that is corroborated by witnesses, and it's very believable, and the media won't even touch it. They won't even, they just protect the guy. It's a terrible situation, I find.
Dispatch says Biden doesn't grab M by the pussy though.
He just does something else, apparently.
LOL.
He just does something else, I guess. He doesn't do that. Excuse me. Another interesting trend, though, that I saw online. Excuse me one moment.
Troll ZKYV says at dispatch he sniffs them by the hair and rapes their children instead. Mom Patch says, haha, governed by Braille. Soldat says, I'm still not convinced Biden is gonna be the candidate.
Soldat, I don't know. I'm still convinced that it's gonna be him. The Democrats have already pretty much gone all in with him. I would be shocked.
Nichiniga says,
I would be shocked if somehow they do a switcheroo. I mean, he'll be the main candidate, but everybody knows that the vice president that he chooses for his candidacy will pretty much be the president. So, and he already said who he's gonna pick in so many words. He said he's gonna pick a woman and an African American woman.
Soldat says at Padre it's her turn. Mom Patch says, Biden found their puppet, he can be controlled.
Yeah, he is very much just a name that, because he's been in politics for so long and he is pretty much a lifelong Democrat, I feel that the party's going to use him as the front runner, and then whoever the vice president is basically going to be pulling the strings. Because he's not there.
So Biden is running with RuPaul.
He's not. He's just not all there. Just look at what he says. That's what it boils down to. But anyways, another thing that I saw trending here.
Mom Patch says, He doesn't know the difference between his wife and sister.
Yeah, I saw that video. The guy, like I said, the guy's. I actually pity him when I see videos of him and he's stumbling through stuff and he's saying things that just are not.
NZE says,
They don't make any
gross.
sense. It's just it makes you sad.
Troll ZKYV says at Mom Patch it was the 60s, man.
Well, Padre, Padre's not in my chat here, so, but Padre, the thing is,
says, wife sister.
it's not,
Same
Biden isn't going to be any better. I can promise you that. Biden is actually going to make things 10 times worse.
Mom Patch says at Troll ZKYV because it's all good, man.
If not more. Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that if you elect Biden, racism is over. Yeah.
Patch.
No, but anyways, going back to like another some other interesting things that are in the news. So apparently Taco Bell has earned the ire of social media. So a Taco Bell fired a manager for wearing a Black Lives Matter mask to work. And I find it hilarious though that everybody's in an uproar over that. Starbucks was also canceled by the left because of that reason.
If Trump loses and pulls a Gerald Ford, the next Dem could end up like Carter.
It would be a shame, I think, if you lost, because you're already gonna get what's worse than a Carter with Biden.
Troll ZKYV says, Taco Bell's meat isn't real, neither is their black meat.
But going back to Taco Bell, they got canceled. RIP Taco Bell was trending on social media because of this firing, which I find ironic that everybody's so angry about this, but they're perfectly okay with Twitter censoring people because it's a private company. They can do that. But no, not Taco Bell. Like, what? Again, ideological consistency doesn't exist. That's a big problem in my view. Not that I'm a fan of Taco Bell.
ZKYV LOL mystery meat.
But their cinnamon sticks are pretty good. I don't mind their cinnamon things.
Nichiniga says, I miss my hate army from Facebook.
Your hate army from Facebook. So, another thing that I saw on social media was Geraldo was trending, because Geraldo has a gift of every once in a while saying one of the most stupid things on this planet. Like, Geraldo was saying they could have just...
YV says at Mom Patch 60% meat, 40% something else. I found that horrifying. And the chicken was 40/60ths. How?
Oh my god. That's why I avoid fast food restaurants in general. I don't think they're a good idea.
Punished Monkey says, those people don't stand on principle, nor play by our morals.
That is true, Punished Monkey.
Says at Troll ZKYV totally remember them Bane called out for that.
But Geraldo said that, and there's others that say this, that they could have just gotten that Rayshard Brooks, I'm sorry, Rayshard Brooks. Geraldo is saying... He's saying that a bygone era could have ended with a drunk taking cab or Uber home. Geraldo, like I said, Geraldo has a gift of being absolutely stupid sometimes. If you're drinking under the influence, I don't know of any police officer that's just gonna say, you know what, just get into a cab and go home. Sleep it off. No. And you had this encounter at Wendy's with Rayshard Brooks, who grabbed the police taser, tried to assault the police officer, and the police officer responded, and Rayshard Brooks is dead. So you had this encounter for 43 minutes, where it escalated to the point where this happened. I think one of the big problems
Gerardo I
is that
deal with the
cops
seals in Gumball
are
province on
are
D-Day.
in a rock and a hard place when you're dealing with any sort of perpetrator where they're just trying for the their darndest to, like, I don't know, not arrest the person. I don't even know why they delay things so much. Listen, the guy was under the influence. Bring him in, let him sleep it off in the cell, and it's done. Is it really that complicated that it has to be
Troll
spread out?
ZKYV says at Mom Patch I hated takeout when they stopped using fresh local
And if
ingredients.
anyone has a
About a
breathalyzer and they
decade or two
fail
back.
the breathalyzer test, they're gonna get arrested. So what Geraldo is saying is just absolute stupidity. I don't see how this even applies in this case. Geraldo is an idiot sometimes. He very much is.
Mom Patch says at Troll ZKYV no wonder it's so cheap.
So I don't agree that this is a racial issue too. Again, even with Rayshard Brooks, this is the other thing. He's talking about, oh, black men face special challenges dealing with cops. Where was this? Can you please show me where this was a racially motivated when the other officers involved were black? I mean, can someone please explain? I want Geraldo to explain this to me. Not that he would come on my show because he's a big fish and I'm virtually nobody. But can someone please explain to me where the racial element of this one is? How is this? How is this? Yeah, he was on probation as well. He was on probation for DV and drunk driving. Yep, and he was intoxicated when they got him. He assaulted a cop, took the weapon. Yeah, the cops acted as they were trained in that case, and the DA himself has said in the past that tasers are deadly weapons. And now all of a sudden, no, it's not a deadly weapon. Well, you can't have it both ways, buddy. Really? Wow. Okay, so I just got a tweet here from Soldat. I'm sorry, not Soldat, Senator Hitler, where Tucker Carlson reports, citing sources familiar, that the stepmother of ex-Atlanta officer Garrett Rolfe, Melissa Rolfe, was fired from her HR manager job at Equity Prime Mortgage in Atlanta with little explanation, told, "We have to terminate our relationship with you." That's a wrongful termination lawsuit right there. I would sue their ass off. Simple. You can't just fire someone because you don't like them.
Taco Bell made real tacos.
Another thing that really pissed me off when I saw this was I saw a trend online for Vindman. Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, the little slimy snitch, essentially, that made stuff up. And they want to promote him to colonel. He's on the list of all these different people that are going to be promoted. I don't think he should be promoted. I think he should be facing the consequences of being part of a false impeachment. And I don't think that he should be promoted. Simple. And the fact that he's even on the list is disturbing to me.
Soldat says, Vind man, the active duty colonel that wanted a job as Ukrainian defense minister.
Yes, that guy. Exactly. But
Soldat says, Vind man should be tried for treason.
Yeah, I think that, you know,
Patch says at Troll ZKYV, I took my own lunch for vacation/boating, so I wasn't stuck with fast food choices only.
He pretty much admitted during the whole impeachment thing that he had nothing. It was his own personal feelings that he put before his country. He just didn't like what he saw. There was nothing illegal, nothing wrong. And he was the centerpiece of this whole nonsense. So I don't think he deserves promotion. I don't know if he should be tried for treason, but
Troll
he
ZKYV
definitely
says
doesn't
at Mom
deserve
Patch, we
being
are at this
promoted.
point, aren't we?
I don't agree with that. I absolutely don't agree with that at all. Um, and the last, Bolton is still trending with this whole ridiculous book that he put
Soldat
out.
says at the Eternal Abyss it's happening.
It's happening. What's happening?
Mom Patch says at Troll ZKYV afraid so.
Oh,
Requires planning ahead.
really? The council urges Mayor De Blasio to boot Thomas Jefferson's statue from City Hall. This is this is getting to the point of stupid. And De Blasio is moronic enough to actually go along with this. This is the thing that's disturbing to me when you have someone as stupid as De Blasio. It's very frustrating. I don't understand why people in New York reelected this idiot. He hurt New York in his previous terms. I think he's already. I don't remember how many terms mayors have there in New York.
Is gonna be renamed.
I guess it may be. I don't know.
Mom Patch says, "You mean De Blasio?"
Well, yeah. I mean, or you could just call him by his real name, Wilhelm. I don't know why he changed his name. Maybe just to put shame on Italian people.
Mom Patch, I make a list and research the local joints if I have time before I travel, so I get to sample the best of the locals.
But as I was saying, there's Bolton is still kind of trending. There's this whole thing of you hired him, because Trump is complaining about Bolton, calling him an idiot, blah blah blah. The usual stuff that Trump does when he tweets. And I don't agree with the left generally when it comes to all the attacks that they do on Trump. This one I kind of have to I talked about this morning, and people are going to call him out for that and say, well, you hired him, now you're complaining about him, calling him a loser, blah blah blah. And to an extent, there is some agreement on my end. It's like, well, why did you hire him in the first place if you knew that this guy was a moron? But at the same side, at the opposite side of the coin, I understand why maybe he would. Like I said this morning, like if you're a business-oriented individual, if you're a problem solver, you want to hear all sorts of ideas, even extreme ones, from both sides of the spectrum. And it makes sense that you surround yourself with people that will give you like all these different options for a solution. And then from there you go, okay, well, this is the middle ground because you're the crazy war hawk guy. You're the tree-hugging uber lefty socialist communist kind of guy. And then there's the middle ground where you would find the right solution for the problem. So I understand why Trump would hire someone like him. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're going to get that backlash. You definitely are, because Trump did at the end make the decision to hire him. When he saw that this guy wasn't the right choice, he should have just fired him and said, okay, you know what, this was a mistake. I thought maybe you could work out, but it seems like you can't. And, have a nice day. Really, that's what it boils down to. That's the way I see it. And listen, hirings and firings happen all the time in administrations. I don't vilify any president for hiring someone or firing someone. The only time I would vilify a president for a hiring if there's really some serious damage that is done through the hiring of this individual. That's where I have issues with how people hire and staff the different corners of their administration, or appoint people to different positions where you've had some really bad people in some really high powered positions, like with the previous administration. It's pretty disturbing, really, if you see what was done with the weaponization of the FBI, the CIA, IRS. It's scary. It's really scary.
Soldat says,